Okay, fam, welcome back. So today we're going to be going over the grayscale trusts and touch a little bit on the markets and our own personal positions and native crypto. So with that being said, let's get it. All right. So the first thing I want to go over here is that you guys can see the native space is still going up. Okay. From let's see, where is it? From Gala on up, we have every single one of these except for Bitcoin. Just so y'all know, that's the reason why they're at the top, but they're all green as of right now. So before I actually get into our positions, which I'm only going to touch on briefly, I'm not going to go too deep into this because, again, we are going to cover that more in depth in the following video. But for now, I did want to cover the markets. So I did tell you guys that likely we were probably going to get a bounce off this oversold territory. You guys can see we have actually had a bounce. Now, albeit it's not as aggressive to the upside as I thought it was going to be, but you guys can see the last time we hit oversold on the NASDAQ here, it took a pretty large swing to the upside, okay? And we may be forming something very similar here. So we got a double bottom here. And then, of course, you have kind of a, not exactly a double bottom, but kind of like a potential W pattern playing out here. There is also this really long trend line. See this trend line right here? This white one? So yeah, we could be about ready to bounce off of that and then start ripping to the upside. The S&P also hit oversold, and the last time this happened, didn't play out immediately. It took a little bit of time to actually form this to create the explosive move up, but then it did happen. So we may be seeing also kind of a W pattern here as well. You can see the EMAs on the MACD already starting to curl back up. Got the golden cross off the oversold here on the RSI. So there's that. The other thing I wanted to point out here too is, see if I can find it. So I believe it's on the NASDAQ. Yeah, so we still have this ascending triangle. Okay, so this is a bullish pattern. Again, we kind of got an overcut here, came back in. In my opinion, as long as we are holding this pattern and we do get a confirmation break to the upside, then I would say it's still bullish. Of course, you have this huge consolidation right here, right? The big green box. Do I think the markets are going to drop off a cliff this time of year? No, I don't think so, okay? Look, the market needed a pullback in order to head higher. That's to be expected. Plus, the move we had after the elections was insane. Even I thought it was pretty crazy. So am I surprised there's a pullback? No. But again, you guys got to understand, we're going into the holidays, okay? So Thanksgiving's right around the corner, Christmas, New Year's, all that stuff. November through February, maybe even as late as March, is usually pretty bullish. It's actually the most bullish time of the year. And again, it's bullish seasonality, holiday season, all that stuff. So markets should just continue to climb. I would not be surprised if the S&P and the NASDAQ actually hit new all-time highs by the end of the year. Again, believe it or not, I would not be surprised. You guys already know my targets for Bitcoin by the end of the year. Initially, it was 75 to 100,000. We've already hit that. I would say 100,000 is actually kind of undershooting it at this point. I think Bitcoin could probably be closer to $120,000 by the end of the year. That would not surprise me. Okay, maybe even as high as 140,000 by the end of the year. But at a minimum, probably somewhere around 120,000. Okay, so in terms of our positions here, I'm just going to talk about this briefly. So we cut down on a lot of the puts and calls we had. So now you can see it's just the call debit spreads. But I wanted to point this out. We have stacked on a huge amount of Coney. I mean, it's not really huge, but it's a decent size. It's a decent amount of money that we put in here. And we also have added another 400 shares of CLSK. So we brought our cost basis down about $6 to $7 a share. From where it was at before, took off the covered calls, which unfortunately costs a little bit of money, but one step back to take two steps forward. We're not too concerned about it at this point. We've been cashing in for months and months and months and months and months and months and months at this point. A small setback, not really a big deal. Again, at the end of the day, like I've told you guys before, it doesn't really matter how much you make. It matters how much you keep, okay? And if every single month we're in the green and we have, say, one red week out of 6 months, we have one red week, right? And the rest are green. I don't think it really matters too much. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the trust. So nice big green day here, as you guys can see. Again, I can't I can't say with certainty when these things are really going to start flying off the handle, but I'd say this is a pretty good sign. Okay. As long as the traditional markets continue to climb, which I think they will, because again, we are in that bullish seasonality, and the Fed's going to keep cutting rates. Trump's going to get inaugurated. I don't think I need to say more about this, okay? But the traditional market's likely going to keep going higher, and as they do, the grayscale trusts and the Bitcoin miners, which appear to be sensitive to the movements of the TradFi market, as the traditional markets continue to climb higher, I suspect these will also continue to go up with it, in sync with crypto. Okay. All right. So LTCN, we got a daily close above this trend line. That's a very bullish sign. We are still kind of at break even here on the on the RSI. The MACD is still below the zero line, which means it has a long ways to move up after this golden cross. So in my opinion, we're just starting to see the beginning of what LTCN could potentially do here. We are above the EMAs. Okay, we are above the EMAs on the weekly and also the daily. Again, we got to confirm this week close above, but I'm pretty confident it's going to be above the EMAs, maybe even above this trend line here. So yeah, it looks pretty bullish. I mean, if you're looking for a pullback here, 15 to, I'd say about, well, at least until we get the confirmation on the weekly, roughly about 1540 to 17 and a quarter will be those targets. So you got 25 to 27, then you got 54 as targets up here. Worst case scenario, maybe you get a wick down and then it pops back up and starts rocketing. That could happen, 240% gain. I'm not saying it will happen, okay, but it doesn't seem likely at this point, but it could always happen, okay? Markets are very mysterious sometimes. You really never know what they're going to do, so it's always best to be prepared. Okay, so 730 to 790 here for buy zones on BCHG. It's above the EMAs, kind of consolidating there on the EMAs. That's pretty bullish, I would say, actually. Indicators look good. They look bullish. EMA is starting to curl up, cross over. That's always a bullish sign. So targets, immediate targets, anywhere from 1050 to 20, and then as high as 24. The all-time highs, just so you guys know, the all-time highs for LTCN is 510, and for BCHG, I believe, is 60. So we have quite a ways to get to those. 225% gain here. Let me get back down here. I don't know what the hell just happened. Okay, so HZEN up 10% on the day. That's pretty good. We are above the EMAs here. Daily also above the EMAs, kind of chopping around a little bit, retesting this line. That's to be expected. So I would say probably anywhere between 380 to about 420 would be good areas to buy. Again, 380 is kind of sitting along that trend line and that red EMA down there. So there's that. So again, the target for the wedge is the top of the wedge, so roughly about 880 in this case. 690 to 810, and then as high as 1050 would be the targets. I don't remember what the all-time high is for HZEN. I think it's like 30 or 40 bucks, something like that. So 145% gain here. So, I mean, you could just from this level, where it currently sits right now at this current price, you could be looking at potentially a 10x, easy. We do also have the underlying token on this particular grayscale trust. Okay, so ETCG, EMAs are curling up. These are looking very bullish. I don't know if you guys can see this, but these two bottom EMAs are pointing up. That indicates that a golden cross is coming on this thing, probably within the next couple of weeks. The daily, we already got the golden cross back here, and the price has been lifting ever since. The EMA is pointing up. All of the indicators point up, actually. That's very bullish, I would say. And the indicator is also pointing up on the weekly, so that's great. Okay, so dip buying opportunities here, 960 to about 1050. Targets could be anywhere from 13 to roughly about 20 bucks. We do still have the ETCG position that we had before. It's the same. We haven't added to it or sold anything or anything like that. So 102% gain here. ETH. So yeah, this one also looks bullish, although not quite as bullish as ETCG. 2330 to 2840, in my opinion, is going to be the buy zone. Target is all the way up here at the cup and handle target, so 4760. Okay, so this move could be as much as 102% gain, same as ETCG. You see the nice big cup and handle. Again, the white line is basically the way that you would measure a cup and handle. You basically just pretty much measure it from the absolute bottom of the cup, which in this case would be right about there, to the neckline. Okay, so you draw that line in between the neckline, which would be the breakout point, and the absolute low of the cup. And then from wherever the breakout of the neckline took place, you could do it one of two ways. You could either start the measurement at the bottom of the neck here in this case, which again would be 47. But I think the more traditional way to do it is actually to have it be at the start of the breakout point right here at the top, which would actually in this case give it a target of roughly about 53. But I was being a little bit conservative in this case. It could easily go to 53, just so y'all know. So GBAT, so we are getting the golden cross here finally. It's starting to show some green here, so that's always a good sign. For those of you that have this one, you're probably waiting forever, and you're like, what the hell, dude? Like, is this thing ever going to effing go to the moon? Guys, I get it. Trust me. We've had to be patient just like you, okay? And we've had a bunch of different positions we've had to be patient on for months. We're all in this together. Believe it or not, we are. So buy zones down here is still below the EMAs. Got to get above it. 440 to 5.25. Targets 780 to roughly about 10. And then, of course, the all-time high at right around 32. So, I mean, you're still looking at potentially as much as a 5x from the current price. 574% gain. And again, keep in mind, that is just to get back to the all-time highs. These things could easily, very easily explode to even higher highs than that, okay? Easily. I mean, this is crypto, y'all. We could be... I mean, there's no telling what's going to happen when Trump gets in office in terms of crypto, because if the rates are at zero or close to zero, they get the Bitcoin national stockpile like they want, and you have everybody under the sun in the government who's pro crypto. I mean, dude, sky's the limit, man. I'm just telling y'all. So FILG, 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 whatever you want to call it, indicators look bullish here. Nice big green day. Again, I'm not surprised. So we got the undercut, double bottom here. That's also not surprising. Still below the EMAs, but above the support. So buy zone right now, 37 to 43. At least until we get above the EMAs, that is. So we do also have the underlying token for this one, Filecoin. We actually have a bigger position on Filecoin than we do Horizon. So 880% move here. GLIV. Haven't quite gotten the crossover yet on the indicators, but it's looking pretty close at this point. So I would say the potential buy area is still anywhere from 7.15 to about 12.20, somewhere in there. Because again, we got to get a candle close at least above that resistance zone to confirm it as a flip zone. So 905% gain here. G-Link is looking pretty good at this point. Little rejection off of the top of this resistance. That's not really surprising. People probably taking profit. Even if there's not any shorts, people probably still take a profit kind of in this area. So haven't gotten above it yet, but we're above the EMAs. So I'd say probably 55 to 65, somewhere there could be a target. I'd just be looking for the all-time high as the kind of time to potentially exit, or if it gets past that, of course, we'll talk about that in a separate video. So 306% gain here. GSOL still climbing higher. Not really surprised. So current buy zone 170 to about 210 here. Targets could be anywhere from, I'd say, about 295 up to the all-time high at 580. So maximum move in this case, roughly about 230% gain. GXLM. Okay, what the hell is that? Okay, so this thing had a big explosion up, and then you have this massive shooting star candle. That's a very bearish candle, just so y'all know. So yeah, I'm not sure what to make of that one. I don't know what happened here. It does appear that it literally happened today. So maybe we get a pullback, fill this gap here between 28 to 32 sometime before the end of the week, and then boom, pop off even higher. As of right now, I'd say probably 24 to maybe 27.50 at that EMA could be the potential buy area. That's very interesting. I wouldn't have expected something like that to happen. So 52.50 to 70 as the targets here. Maximum move could be as high as 190% gain. Mana, this thing has had an absolute explosion. I've told y'all before, and I'm going to tell you one more time. Okay, I think Decentraland is a great play. We do not personally have it right now. Again, we are positioned where we're positioned at. But if we had caught mana at the dip, at the absolute lows, we did actually have it after. We did buy mana after the bear market lows in 2022. We just currently don't have it. But I will tell you guys, this thing has massive potential. Okay, huge. You're talking a potential AI, metaverse, and like collectibles, online real estate, that kind of stuff, or digital real estate, that kind of stuff. If you don't think that this thing does not have potential, I mean, dude, there were literally NFTs. If you guys don't know what an NFT is, go look it up for yourself. This is a totally different sector of crypto, but there was literally NFTs that sold for millions of dollars. I'm not even kidding you. Millions per NFT around the peak of the last cycle. An NFT is basically like digital art, is essentially what it is. So if you think that mana can't go up based on the idea of digital realty, like having property online in some online world, online game, stuff like that, the potential here is massive. I'm just going to tell y'all right now. If somebody paid $2 million for a JPEG, just imagine what they would pay for something like, some property on Decentraland. I don't think I need to say more about this, okay? I know it sounds ridiculous. Even I agree it is a bit ridiculous, but that's what people do. Okay, this is crypto. Welcome to crypto. All right, so mana. Buy zones here 10 to about 1550. Targets are going to be anywhere from 1760 to $71. And if you guys are looking for good examples of an NFT collection that was worth like a fortune the last cycle, just type in board. I think it's called Board Yacht Apes or something like that. Yeah, those went for like stupid amounts of money. Okay, so 565% gain here. Zcash. So the kind of target range here, $3 3.25 to $6 for the buy, and 8 for 10 and to 10.25 as potential profit targets. So roughly about 210% gain. All right, hope you all enjoyed this content. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.